Hi everyone, so welcome to the discussion of the different kinds of obligation based on the new Civil Code provisions, Articles 1179 to 1230. Okay, I divided the discussion into two parts. First part will cover pure and conditional obligations, obligations with a period, and obligations that are considered to be alternative. And the second part will cover joint and solidary obligations, divisible and indivisible obligations, and then obligations with a penal clause. So let's start with pure and conditional obligations. Article 1179 enshrined in first paragraph the concept of pure obligations. Okay? While on the second paragraph of 1179 enshrines obligations that are subject to resolutory conditions. Okay? So both of this obligation is demandable at once, meaning to say, from the time the obligation is constituted, that's also the same time to which the creditor can demand fulfillment of the obligation. Okay? The only thing under the second paragraph talking about resolutory condition is that the fulfillment of the condition will have the effect of extinguishing the obligation. So, just like the concept of resolutory vis-a-vis the concept of suspensive condition, hindi siya demandable at once, pero kapag nangyaring condition, mag-a-arise na yung obligation. Resolutory condition, demandable siya at once, gaya ng pure obligation, but upon the fulfillment of the condition, okay, the obligation will be extinguished. 1180 talks about obligation wherein the debtor will pay when his means permits him to do so. So sabi natin before that this obligation is not an obligation subject to a period, but the law classifies it to be these are obligations not subject to a condition because the law classifies it as obligations that are subject to a period. And referring to Article 1197, okay, whenever this kind of obligation is present, okay, it's going to be always a question as to when. So, kailan yung when his means permits him to do so? Kailan yung period na prinamis pero hindi naman sinabi kung kailan? So, sino magde-determine ng actual period? So, under 1197, it will be the court, okay? And the basis of the court in determining the period will be the circumstances that surrounds the agreement, okay? Next will be Article 1181, talks about the concept of your resolutory condition and suspensive condition. So again, pag resolutory condition, the obligation is demandable at once upon the happening of the or should I say, upon the fulfillment of the condition, the obligation will be extinguished. While an obligation subject to suspensive condition, these are obligations that are not demandable at once because the obligation is suspended. However, upon the fulfillment of the condition, that came, or should I say, that will give rise to the obligation. Okay? 1182, okay? Talking about obligations that are potestative, okay? Or meaning to say, potestative, those obligations that are, that are dependent upon the will of the, one of the parties, okay? Upon the sole will of one of the parties, okay? Pero take note ha, that yung nire-refer dito sa first sentence ng 1182 natin, which is the one that is void, is only those which are considered to be SPP. Okay? Suspensive, potestative, passive. Suspensive, ibig sabihin, the obligation is not demandable at once. Potestative, ibig sabihin, it's dependent upon the sole will of one of the parties. And passive, ibig sabihin, that party is the debtor. So, ito lang yung void. Okay? Take note of that. Second sentence of Article 1182 is that if the obligation is dependent upon the will of the third person or upon chance, then that is valid. Okay? I-highlight natin na yung hindi lang pwede under the law is yung SPP natin. Obligations that are suspensive, potestative, and passive. 1183, talking about impossible conditions. So what are those? Impossible conditions are those conditions that are contrary to good customs, public policy, and those that are prohibited by law. At kapag ang isang obligasyon ay nakabase sa isang impossible condition, malinaw sa Article 1183 that it will annul the obligation. Not just the condition, no? But the obligation will be annulled. In other words, the obligation will be voided. Okay? But take note that if the obligation is divisible, okay, ang maa-annul lang or ang mabovoid lang is yung part na pwedeng ihiwalay na subject to impossible condition. Kasi kung may part naman dun sa divisible obligation na hindi naman dependent sa isang impossible na condition, then that part will still be valid. Okay? So, general rule, invalid except if it's divisible, yung part lang na may impossible condition ang invalid. That's Article 1183. And continuation with 1183, the condition not to do an impossible thing shall be considered as not having been agreed upon because it will definitely not be done. Because if you tell that I oblige myself not to go to the moon, malamang sa malamang hindi ako makakapunta sa moon. Okay? So that is considered as not having been agreed upon according to the second sentence of Article 1183. 1184. The condition that some event happen at a determinate time shall extinguish the obligation as soon as the time expires or if it has become indubitable that the event will not take place. Okay, actually mag-asawa tong sa 1184 saka sa 1185. Yung 1184, if some event will happen, possible condition. Pero 1185, some event will not happen, negative condition. Okay? So, regarding Article 1184, unahin natin yon, okay? Wherein there is a condition that some event will happen. Ibig sabihin, we're talking about possible condition na some event will happen. Okay? For example, I oblige myself to give you 1 million if you will pass law 1. So that's a possible event, okay? So pagdating dyan sa 1184, ano ang pwedeng maging consequence nung possible obligation, okay? Ang pwedeng maging consequence ng possible obligation is that pag nangyari yung condition, okay? Pag nangyari yung condition, magkakaroon ako ng obligation. Okay? Kasi kung suspensive siya, okay? Pero kung resolutory naman, gaya ng sinasabi ng nasa slide natin, okay, may extinguish yung obligation, okay? For example, no, D oblige himself to give C, for example, a house and lot. The condition is that if C will marry X within 1 year, okay, pag pinakasalan mo siya within 1 year, I will give you house and lot. E natapos sa yung 1 year, hindi pa kayo nagpakasal, so wala na akong obligation. Okay? Dito naman sa 1185, for example, D is obliged to give C a house and lot. The condition is, if C will not marry within 1 year. So pagkatapos na ng 1 year, nag-expire na yung 1 year, then my obligation will arise. So it depends on the tenor of the agreement. Okay? That's 1184 and 1185. Okay? 1185, karagdagan, no? If no time has been fixed, the condition shall be deemed fulfilled at such time as the party may have contemplated. Okay? Of course, basing on the nature of the obligation. So, i-assess na naman kung kailan talaga yung proper time to which the condition is considered as fulfilled. Pero, it's going to be a case-to-case basis. Okay? Next will be 1186, talking about constructive fulfillment. Okay, wherein if the debtor voluntarily prevents the fulfillment of the condition, then malamang the condition will not happen anymore because it's voluntarily prevented. But then, that does not mean that the obligation will not arise. Okay, take note we're talking about suspensive condition dito. Okay, because according to Article 1186, malinaw that the condition will be deemed fulfilled when the obligor voluntarily prevents its fulfillment. So meaning to say, you will be obliged. The obligation will arise. 1187, talking about retroactive effect, okay, of the fulfillment of the condition. So, simple lang naman tong 1187 natin, no? Okay? So, kapag na-fulfill na yung obligation, kunwari today, it is as if the obligation happens or arises from day one. Okay? From the time the obligation was constituted. Yun yung retroactive effect. So, gaya ng sinabi ko last time sa klase, okay, for example, even before the condition is fulfilled, binenta na sa third person yung bibilhin pa lang, then that sale to the third person, which happened prior to the fulfillment of the condition, provided that the condition will be fulfilled, okay, is valid kasi magre-retroact. It is as if the seller to the second buyer, the seller is slash the buyer 1, okay, yung sale niya kay buyer 2, okay, nung property na binenta niya noong hindi pa na-fulfill yung condition is valid because magkakaroon ng retroactive effect. It is as if the buyer 1 is slash seller of buyer 2, okay, has a right or owns the property sold to buyer 2, okay, not from the time the obligation has been fulfilled, but from the time the obligation is constituted. Okay? Pero, yun nga lang, sabi ko din sa klase before, hindi magkakaroon ng retroactive effect pagdating sa fruits and interest. Kasi, kung magbabayad ng fruits yung isa, tapos magbabayad din ng interest yung isa, kasi dapat yung pera na bayaran niya rin since day one, di parang equits na lang. Okay? Para hindi na magkaroon ng bayaran. Okay? 1187, general rule, retroactive effect, except as to the fruits and as to the interest. Okay, second paragraph of 1187, pagdating naman sa obligation to do or not to do, mahirap kasing ascertain yung fruits, yung value ng fruits, saka yung interest. So, it will be the court who will determine the extent of the retroactive effect. Okay, 1188, okay, take note ha, that as the creditor, even if the condition is not yet fulfilled, you may protect yourself. You may do appropriate acts. You will, kunwari sa sale, nagbayad ka na ng 1 million, yung value ng property 2 million. Kunwari, deed of conditional sale siya. Ibig sabihin nun, saka lang itatransfer yung ownership sa pangalan mo kapag nag-full pay ka na. Nagbayad ka na ng 1 million, baka mamaya, kahit nakapagbayad ka na ng 1 million, baka ibenta pa yun sa iba or what. Okay, so even if you even if the condition of full payment is not yet fulfilled, you can go to court and have the deed of conditional sale annotated to the certificate of title para hindi na siya maibenta successfully sa ibang tao. Okay? So yon. So sir, that is true even if the condition is not yet fulfilled. Pero ang idadagdag natin dyan, provided na ma-fulfill later on yung condition. Okay? Then, second sentence of 1188, yung solution indemnity natin. For example, you have paid the creditor even before the fulfillment of the suspensive condition, believing that the suspensive condition has been fulfilled, then mali, di ba? Hindi ka pa dapat nagbayad. So, you have the right to recover what you have paid. If the creditor does not want to return it, you will be entitled to interest and or damages. Okay? So, that's Article 1188. 1189, ito yung mahabang provision that talks about improvement, deterioration, as well as loss, okay, during the pendency of the period between the constitution of the obligation and the fulfillment of the condition. So, kung nagkaroon ng loss, tingnan mo lang kung is the loss due to fortuitous event or due to the fault of the debtor. If the deterioration is due to the fault of the debtor or fortuitous event. If the improvement is due to the nature of the object or the prestation or due to the acts of the debtor. Okay? So, meron tayong 6 na rules dyan. Okay? Again, if the thing is lost without the fault of the debtor, the obligation shall be extinguished. Now, if the thing is lost naman through the fault of the debtor shall be obliged to pay damages. It is understood that the thing is lost when it perishes or goes out of commerce or disappears in such a way that its existence is unknown or cannot be anymore recovered. Now, talking about deterioration, if it deteriorates without the fault of the debtor, then the deterioration or the impairment will be suffered by the creditor. Hindi niya pwedeng pabayaran kasi hindi naman kasalanan ni debtor. But if the deterioration is through the fault of the debtor, then that's the time the creditor may opt to choose rescission, ipakancel niya na, or ituloy niya pa rin, but in both case, entitled na siya for damages. Okay? Paano naman, sir, kapag nag-improve? Okay? So, if the thing improved not because of the debtor, but by its nature or by time, then the improvement will be enjoyed or shall inure to the benefit of the creditor. Okay? Siya naman na mag-enjoy kasi kanina kung deterioration na by nature or not through the fault of the debtor, okay, siya pa rin ang magsasuffer. So, kapag para naman mabalanse, no, pag benefit naman sa kanya din. Okay? Then number 6, if it is improved at the expense of the debtor, he shall have no other right than that of a usufructuary, the right to use. Okay, hindi niya pwedeng pabayaran later on pag ibibigay niya na yung property kay creditor. For example, yung kotse, ni-renovate niya, parang nilagyan niya ng mga improvements sa speaker, mga ganyan. Nag-install siya ng kung ano-ano, gumastos siya. So, habang hindi niya pa ginagamit, may karapatan siya as usufructuary. Ay, habang hindi niya pa sinusole or dinideliver sa buyer, okay, may karapatan siyang gamitin. Pero kapag isusoli niya na, okay, pwede niyang alisin basta hindi masira yung property, or kapag masira yung property, ibibigay niya dapat doon sa buyer without the right of being reimbursed. Okay? So, do not forget your 1189 because this will be applicable to other provisions as well. 1190, okay? Talking about kwan lang to, no? Kapag yung kabilang partido hindi niya dineliver or hindi niya finulfill yung obligation niya, then ano mangyayari? There will be an obligation to return what has been received. Parang restitution, kumbaga. So, when the condition have for their purpose the extinguishment of the obligation, mali yung binabanggit ko. Okay? 1190 yung sa pag-resolutory yung condition, meaning to say, di ba, kapag na-fulfill na yung condition, may extinguish na yung obligation. So, kapag nangyari na yon, ibabalik lang kung ano yung na-receive na. Okay? Again, ito yung sinasabi ko, mag-a-apply ulit sa 1189 kasi during dependency of that period, nagkaroon ng loss, deterioration, or improvement, we apply 1189. Okay? Kung kailangan mo nang ibalik, tapos nagkaroon ng deterioration, loss, or improvement, you apply 1189. Basta ganito ha, kung may kailangan ibalik, at during dependency, nagkaroon ng loss, deterioration, or improvement, apply 1189. Okay, 1190 din. Pagdating sa obligation to do or not to do, okay, the second paragraph of 1187 shall be observed. Ano ba yung second paragraph ng 1187? This also applicable to, yung retroactive effect. Kasi pag obligation to do or not to do, mahirap kasi i-determine, no, yung value ng loss, yung value ng deterioration, yung yung value ng retroactive effect, yung value ng fruit. So, it has to be the court who will ascertain it. Okay, that's 1190 second paragraph. Third paragraph, sorry. Okay, next, 1191. Okay, the power to rescind is implied, but that does not necessarily mean that there will be automatic rescission. Okay, you have the power to rescind, but you have to further exercise your power to rescind. How? Execute a judicial act or notarial act. Judicial act, mag-file ka ng case. Praying the court to order the rescission or annulment of the contract or the agreement, or you execute an agreement and have it notarized na nagsasabing rescission na yung i-avail yung dalawa. Okay? Or i-rescind na yung usapan. Okay? So sir, pwede bang ilagay na lang agad-agad sa agreement that there will be automatic rescission? Pwede. Okay? So general rule, you have the right to rescind kapag hindi finulfill nung kabilang party yung obligasyon niya. Okay? But you have to further do either judicial or notarial act. But you can, okay, agree naman in the beginning pa na magkakaroon ng automatic rescission. If that is agreed upon, then there's no need for that judicial act or notarial act. Okay? That's why I would suggest that if later on in actual you will be entering into a contract, you will be drafting a contract, go refer to your lawyers first, okay? So that they can provide you possible options para ma-minimize yung mga hassle na pwedeng ma-encounter, okay? Worst case scenario, okay? So that's 1191. Okay, may second paragraph pa lang, 1191. Sabi dito, the injured party may choose between the fulfillment and the rescission of the obligation with the payment of damages in either case. Kasi ang nangyari sa 1191, parang yung kabilang party, hindi na niya finulfill yung obligasyon niya. So anong choice mo? O di kung hindi mo na finulfill, back out ka na rin. Or pwede mo namang i-push. But in both cases, since there is already breach, okay, you're entitled to damages. Okay? What if pinush ko, tas hindi talaga. Pinilit ko na, pero hindi talaga. Okay? You can later on still go with rescission. But in both cases, in all cases, since there's already breach, you're entitled to damages. And kung nag-file kayo ng rescission, the court will approve it, except if makita ng court na mas appropriate na mag-fix na lang ng period. Okay? Then, ito. I think this is the part that I forgot to, parang sa section 1B ko lang ata to na discuss last time, okay? Yung sa mortgage law and sa law on sales pagdating sa 1385 saka sa 1388, okay? For example, no, di ba ang sinasabi sa 1191, yung isang party hindi nag-fulfill ng kanyang part, okay? So, ending, pwedeng ipa-rescind or i-push with damages. So, for example, ganito, nagbenta ako ng lupa sa'yo, binayaran mo ako ng 50%. So, yung kalahati, babayaran mo maybe next month. Okay? Yun ang usapan. Tapos, hindi mo nabayaran yung 50%. So, my remedy is to cancel the sale, bawin ko na yung lupa, isoli ko na sa'yo yung pera. Ngayon, what if hindi ko na mabawi yung lupa kasi binenta mo na pala sa third person? Should I file a case to recover the property dun sa third person? Or ikaw lang dapat ang kasuhan ko? So, it depends. Yun yung sinasabi dito sa fourth paragraph ng 1191. So, if itong third person, ito yung rule ng 1385, 1388 sa mortgage law. Okay? If itong third person is buyer in good faith, meaning to say, wala siyang kamuwang-muwang na hindi mo pa bayad yung lupa, tas binili niya, hindi ko pwedeng i-recover sa kanya. Eh di sir, unfair naman sa'yo na hindi mo ma-recover yung lupa, hindi ka nabayaran. It might be unfair, but meron pa naman akong remedy, okay? And my remedy is to go after you. Ikaw na lang ang kakasuhan ko. Ikaw na lang ang sisingilin ko ng whole value ng property. Kasi the law protects buyer in good faith. So between me na hindi nabayaran saka yung third person na buyer in good faith, the law protects buyer in good faith. So siya ang priority. Okay? Ngayon, kung itong third person naman, aware siya na hindi mo pa bayad yung lupa sa akin pero binili niya na, that's the time I have a cause of action against this third person. So, pwede kong bawiin yung property sa kanya. Okay? With damages, of course. Okay? Sir, what if hindi naman, sige, ano pa bang ibang instances na yung third person is buyer in good faith or buyer in bad faith? For example, nung binenta ko sa'yo, ang in-execute natin, deed of conditional sale, hindi deed of absolute sale. Pag kasi absolute sale, ipapasa ko na yung titulo sa'yo, okay? Yung ownership. Pero pag deed of conditional sale, hindi muna kasi hintayin ko yung full payment mo, okay? So, nag-execute tayo ng deed of conditional sale. So, anong pwede kong gawin? Okay? I can go to the Registry of Deeds, ipa-annotate ko, ipa-register ko yung deed of conditional sale. Ipa-annotate ko or ipa-marka ko dun sa titulo para kapag bibilhin ng kahit sinong third person, since markado na may deed of conditional sale, I can use that na, ba't mo kasi binili na third person? Bad faith ka kasi binili mo kahit merong deed of conditional sale. Okay? Anong sabi ng third person? What if sabihin niya na, hindi ko naman na-gets yan, hindi ko naman alam ang ibig sabihin niyang deed of conditional sale, therefore good faith pa rin ako. Anong sabi ng mortgage law? Hindi ka good faith, okay? Because of the so-called mirror doctrine. Meron kasi tayong mirror doctrine under law on sales and under mortgage law na kapag naka-annotate yung mga ganyang rights dun sa titulo, you are bound to know it. Okay? So, kahit di mo na gets sa totoong buhay, kung naka-annotate, dapat alam mo, dapat gets mo. So, hindi ka buyer in good faith. So, matatalo yung third person. I can recover it. So, those can be my remedy as the seller of the property. Yun yung sinasabi ni Article 1191. Okay, I hope we're clear with that. Okay, next provision 1192. Ito, in case both parties naman committed breach, okay, marireduce yung damages na pwedeng singilin nung isa. Okay, so kunwari, ikaw yung nag-breach, hindi ka nagbayad, hindi ka nagbayad, so dapat entitled ako sa damages. Pero kunyari, ang nangyari, gumawa din ako ng breach. So yung buo sana na makukuha kong damage, pwedeng bawasan ng court. Okay? So what if hindi natin ma-determine kung who among us did the breach? So ang sabi ng batas, kung hindi natin ma-determine kung sino ang first infractor, then both of you will suffer your own damages. Okay? So that's Article 1192. Okay? So on the next video, we will be talking about obligations with a period.